Good morning, I'm here at Terrain Tamer. This is actually a new branch for Terrain Tamer in South Africa, Cape Town. And standing with me is Marinus, who's actually heading up the whole operations here in South Africa on behalf of Terrain Tamer in Australia. And they've got this incredible warehouse full of parts and all set up in, I would say, record time with what we've had to work with. And I'm really curious to know, tell me a bit about the story. How did Terrain Tamer end up being in South Africa with us?
So in 2015 I saw a video of Terrain Tamer parts, and the first parts that I saw was the radiator hose kits in the nice bag.
Beautiful, we love the bags.
And so I thought, but this is something that we need in South Africa. Everyone overlanding and so on, just take extra parts, nicely fit. The whole kit is there and you chuck it in the back of your vehicle, and if you've got any problem, everything is there. So I contacted guys in Australia, and we started with a bit of negotiations, and from there I became the agent for Terrain Tamer, what we call a stockist in South Africa.
Now, you weren't living in Cape Town?
So I was actually working at the university in Bloemfontein, city central in South Africa.
Great.
About 1,000 kilometers away from here, and I was going on there doing Terrain Tamer parts and so on, and then we did the project with Andrew and his Africa truck.
Fantastic. We had a lot of fun in that project, and huge support from Terrain Tamer. And as you know, I'm a great fan of their parts. For me, it's more about the ethos and the values that they have. For me, it is incredible the value system that's driven throughout the whole company, and I think it extends here to South Africa. That's right from the top down through the whole company, and you feel it as an outsider dealing and working with them, and it's just amazing. So please carry on.
Yeah. So and then we had after the project work with Andrew, the guys in Terrain Tamer contacted me and said no, they really see a big potential in Africa for their parts. Am I willing to come with them, set up a warehouse in Cape Town? Just logistically much better from Bloemfontein. So I moved my whole family, everyone down here during the beginning of May. So I arrived on the 3rd of May, Sunday the 3rd of May in Cape Town. On the 4th of May we received our first container, so a big 40-foot container that we received.
That's at this premises here?
Yeah, so there were nothing, it was just an empty shell when we arrived here.
So no offices, obviously no sign writing.
Yeah, we had one shelf. So the one shelf was we could set up before the lockdown in South Africa. So we had one shelf in here, and basically nothing else here. So we had to use some of the facility behind us here and make sure and just somehow pack the parts so that we can work here while we are receiving some parts and so on, so that when everything is open and up and running and so on, we are also fully stocked.
Well, you did an incredible job of setting up, branding, getting the systems online, and getting all the warehouse done. I know you guys have worked relentlessly. I've been in here a number of times, and there's just been boxes, and I've come in today to actually say, well done.
Thank you very much.
It looks amazing, and I'm sure everyone who sees the footage of the warehouse, the front office, it's welcoming. And we know it's a success. They've proved the value of the parts, and there's lots of great projects we're going to be doing together to enhance and actually probably to show people more value on some of the parts and what they can do and why they may be slightly different.
Yeah. So Terrain Tamer's got a history of about, this year it's 51 years. So last year they had their 50th anniversary and so on. So, and the whole way of doing things is how can we make things better?
Yes.
Not just better than the other aftermarket parts. How can we make it better than Nissan, better than Toyota, better than this? Because
they've proved that with a number of parts. I mean, they've done the heavy-duty wheel bearing kits, which I love those kits. They've really done a lot of work to improve the quality of the bearings, to greater hardness, and the kit itself. I think what I've always found, as you said rightly earlier, that the kit, the way they package it, is so well done. You get all the parts, gaskets, seals, everything you need in a kit. So, that's what really makes the job much easier to work on when you're doing it.
Yeah. I think if you're not in the trade and you're doing it for the first time or the second or whatever time, there's always that small little part that you forget to order, or that when you strip the whole vehicle, then you sit there, oh, but I actually need to buy this
part.
and this and this and this.
Yeah.
And with the Terrain Tamer, they said, okay, but don't worry, if you buy the kit, you'll get everything.
Yeah.
You know that if you strip the vehicle, that you do have that little pin that you didn't know about, and everything is either Japanese made or OE manufacturers or whatever. So they make sure that even with the OE stuff, they go to the OE manufacturers and say, okay, but can we make this better for us?
Yeah.
Can we make the heavy duty seals, the labyrinth seal? Why do we need to stick to a conventional seal if we can make it better?
Those are the seals. Those are the seals. Those seals are actually very unique because it's a hub seal on the wheel bearing, and the challenge you always have is the water always creeps in, the mud and dust mixed in, and then the grease turns to grinding paste, and then that actually etches out a ridge on the metal.
Yeah.
And when you pull your old seal off, and then you see this ridge, it's almost impossible to repair that.
No.
You
have
need
to
to
replace
change.
the whole spindle, and
So
that's
really
expensive.
so they've come up with some very innovative ideas, and I think it's driven, if I'm right, a lot about the work they do with the mines.
Yeah, so they do a lot of mines in Australia and so on, and
So all the vehicles that run in the mines.
yeah. And a lot of the mines in Australia is using Land Cruisers as their vehicles running in the mud and in the dusty areas and so on. And from there they go to them and say, okay, but what's your problem that you have? And then we had one case where they had to replace, every 5 days they had to replace the brake pads.
Sure.
And the guy said, okay, but how can we assist them? And we developed our own brake pads, our high performance brake rotors and so on. And you could move that 5 days to 3 months. So,
and that was really because of the heat generation and wearing out and not coping with the weight on the car?
Yeah, they were working in a slurry, so they were constantly having water and sand and everything in between the pad and the disc. So it's basically, as you mentioned, the grinding paste that they worked in. So it's keep on grinding away these pads and so on. So they said, okay, but can we look at a better compound for the pad, better metallurgical compound for the disc, and then we do it in a drilled and slotted, so that you can get all the heat, all the mud and water and things that you can scrape that away. So that
I think that's what's really enhanced the history of the company, is that ethos. And when I say it goes back to values, and values in my mind are critical when you're working with an industry. And I think we're really grateful to have the support and the knowledge and the background that we can draw on, because there's a lot of very valuable experience.
Yeah. So the Terrain Tamer is still family owned. So it's still the original Frank Hutchinson, that
Founding partner.
the founding partner. He's still the guy running the company. So if decisions need to be made, it's not going through a board of directors and whatever. It's Frank and Alan and Brent, his son, sitting around a table and discussing how can we improve these things, how can we assist our clients to have better products.
And you feel it. I mean, I know you feel very supported, and I can see just how the guys that have actually supported you in setting this up, and the commitment they've given you, and the responsibility you've taken on to make this work. And I think that in itself, there's a lot of trust involved there, and I really respect that value. It's lost in a lot of our time. And I think those deep-seated values go through not only the parts they develop, the service, the packaging, it's how they look after the family. And we as users of the parts are part of the family.
Yeah.
So it's absolutely, thank you so much. I really look forward to us doing more time, looking at some of the parts in more detail. We're going to film some of the parts, we're going to fit to vehicles. And, you know, as an outsider for me coming in to work and just really look at how these parts can improve the 4x4 industry and how we use them, it's fantastic.
Yeah. I think a lot of the vehicle manufacturers don't design it for what we use the vehicles for.
Yeah.
And we're looking at changing the parts so that if you are an overlander, that it will get you there and back.
It's a very good point, and I think that's, you know, a lot of the work that I do when we build vehicles, like we did with Andrew's project, it was really about taking an older vehicle and then building back in the reliability. And building back in that reliability, you need to change a good number of components. that not only wear out, but if they've been improved along the way, you're reducing that wear factor again. And I think it stands to a lot of reason that there are good parts out there, but this really makes it special.